Yo, what's going on guys? CultofMush back at it with another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the recently revealed Doom system requirements. And right off the bat, I have to say that the game system requirements are pretty high, but this is a game that I expect to look very good on PC. So with that out of the way, let's get right into this with minimum CPU requirement. For minimum CPU requirement, you're looking at an Intel Core i5-2400 or an AMD FX-8320. So that is pretty beefy stuff. The i5-2400 is the non-overclockable Sandy Bridge i5, and the FX-8320 is obviously the 8-core AMD CPU, so that is kind of high-end. As far as recommended CPU requirements go, you're looking at an Intel Core i7-3770 or an AMD FX-8350. Even though they do list the i7-3770 as recommended, with the majority of titles that do list the i7 as recommended, if you do have an overclocked i5, usually you'll get away just fine. Hopefully that's the case with Doom as well. And then recommended for AMD is the AMD FX-8350, which the i7-3770 is a much better CPU than the FX-8350. I just expect that Doom is going to be the kind of game where if you do have more than 4 cores, it's going to take advantage of that. For minimum and recommended RAM requirement, you're looking at 8GB of RAM. That's really not a big deal. I know that a lot of games do list 4GB of RAM as minimum, but at this point, if you have a gaming PC, you have 8GB of RAM. If you're looking to play Doom, you probably have 8GB of RAM. If not, it's so freaking cheap. Just go and buy it and your PC will be thanking you for it. Moving on to what you guys care about, the GPU requirement. Minimum GPU requirement is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 670, that's a 2GB GPU, or an AMD Radeon HD 7870, which is also a 2GB video card. Both of those GPUs are from an older generation, but they were beefy GPUs at their time, and still, the GTX 670 can still do some work. Moving on to recommended GPU requirement, you're looking at an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 or an AMD Radeon R9 290. Those are pretty high-end video cards, and that's supposedly the recommended GPU for 1080p. So if you want to keep a consistent 60 frames per second at 1080p, chances are you're going to need something like a GTX 980 Ti if you want to also max out the game. And then if you were to up the resolution to 1440p, my god, I expect Doom to be a very hard game to run. But hopefully the visuals of the game justify the really high system requirements. I have noticed with a lot of the newer games, the GTX 970 cannot max out every game anymore and get a really good frame rate. With a lot of the newer games these days, if I want to get a good frame rate, I'll have to lower some settings, which is kind of the norm for a $300 GPU. It's just for a while the GTX 970 was killing a lot of games. Also, one final thing for hard drive requirement, you're only going to need 22GB, which is pretty low for a newer AAA game. A lot of games these days are 40 to 50, even 60GB, so 22GB is pretty modest. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video, guys. Let me know, what are your guys' thoughts on Doom? Is this a game you're gonna pick up? I know a lot of PC gamers are very excited for this game, but it also looks to be a game that's gonna be very hard to run, and if you don't have newer hardware, probably not gonna be able to run this game at very good settings at 1080p. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.